In 1995, Cleveland is a great modern city on the eve of its bicentennial. But even before Clevelanders went here, or here for their entertainment, or spend a relaxing day at the North Coast Harbor, entertainment meant a drive up Lakeshore Boulevard, past the old custard stand and the Commodore Theater, to a very special place called Euclid Beach Park.
I believe that time can break down your heart. Round and round we go, through years we will part. It's sad to say it's true, you never can go back, and so we will try to keep it alive. It's just a piece of time that's hard to let go. Along those years, where they've gone I don't know. It's sad to say it's true, you never can go back, and so we will try to keep it alive. Footsteps in the rain, footsteps in the sun, footsteps into yesterday. Footsteps in the rain, footsteps in the sun, footsteps into yesterday. Footsteps you will find, it's all inside your mind. Go to your heart, go to your mind. When yesterday was mine. All our cares were gone as we rode to the sky. It's just a way of life as we watch it go by. It's sad to say and so we will try to keep it alive. Footsteps in the rain, footsteps in the sun, footsteps into yesterday. Footsteps in the rain, footsteps in the sun, footsteps into yesterday. Footsteps in the rain, footsteps in the sun, footsteps into yesterday. Footsteps you will find, it's all inside your mind. Go to your heart, go to your mind. When yesterday was mine. Footsteps in the rain, footsteps in the sun, footsteps into yesterday. Footsteps in the rain, footsteps in the sun, footsteps into yesterday. Footsteps in the rain, footsteps in the sun, footsteps into yesterday. Footsteps in the rain, footsteps in
Euclid Beach got its start over 100 years ago as a stop on the local steamship line. With the advent of the Model T and the coming of affordable transportation, Euclid Beach was always a busy place. After the acquisition of Euclid Beach Park by the Humphrey family back in 1901, Euclid Beach became a very family-oriented park. Gone from Euclid Beach under the Humphrey guidance were the beer gardens and carnival games which spoiled most amusement parks. Euclid Beach was, from the beginning, a great park for roller coasters. Here on Coaster Row, we see the thriller and the racing coasters. If riding coasters wasn't your style, then how about a stroll onto the pier? At Euclid Beach, there was everything from a scary ride in the Laugh in the Dark to the gentle ride of the auto train. At Euclid Beach, there was simply something for everyone. In 1930, we saw the arrival of such thrilling rides as the Flying Turns, a freewheeling ride down a wooden chute. With two to a car, this ride became a favorite for young couples at the park. The outdoor dancing of Euclid Beach's early days gave way to the big band sound at the Euclid Beach Dance Hall. In the trolley days, Euclid Beach even had its own trolley station inside the park. Modern for its time, Euclid Beach Park had one of the earliest movie theaters in the area. No doubt, you will remember those great Humphrey Company treats, popcorn balls, candy kisses, and frozen whip. Can't you almost smell the great Humphrey popcorn and candy kisses being made right before your very eyes? Today, they are still made that same great way.
I've worked for the Humphrey Company since 1936 in the popcorn and candy kiss department. I now manage the popcorn plant in Streetsboro, where we manufacture Basically the same thing that we have all these previous years, only now we do more volume.
Well, to me, Euclid Beach was great. Living in Garfield Heights, we never got to go too often, especially when you had to take 2 buses and a streetcar to get there. I don't remember the lake, I don't remember the dance hall or the log cabin. All I remember is the rides, the flying turns, the scooters, the rocket ships. We rode them and rode them and rode them until it got dark, and then we had to turn around, jump on the streetcar, and take the 2 buses back home. So we weren't lucky like the kids that lived in the neighborhood. It was a long, long day for us.
We appreciate the nostalgia that people show, and it proves it was worth all the headaches, which of course there were plenty of headaches, as you can imagine. So they used to dump the kids on the park and we look after them, and it was really nice. Too bad we had to close, but we did.
And babysit they did. Kids of all ages packed the Midway. On the Euclid Beach Midway, you could meet your neighbors and friends, ride the rides, or simply enjoy a sunny afternoon. Many couples met at the park and would spend the rest of their lives together.
Hey, Kathy and I met at Euclid Beach back in 1962. I was working on the racing coasters, and the fellow I was working with was dating Kathy's sister and wound up on a blind date, and 29 years later we're still here together.
The year 1913 saw the construction of the racing coaster, which would remain one of the most popular rides in the park for the next 56 years.
Racing coaster was a fantastic ride. I always enjoyed it. It was a little bit smaller than the Thriller, but it always seemed like it was faster. People always seemed to complain a little bit at the beginning because one train started out ahead of the other, but by the time you got to the top of the first hill, they were even. Although operators could decide who was going to win and who was going to lose.
A little-known fact about the racing coaster was that there was only one continuous track. If the red car began the race on the inside track, it would finish its race on the outside track. Arriving back at the station, the red and green cars had always switched sides. The coaster history of Euclid Beach Park would never be the same following the winter of 1923. During the off-season, construction was begun on the Thriller by the Philadelphia Toboggan Company. The Thriller, with its high hills and steep sudden drops, was advertised as safe but strenuous. The Thriller certainly lived up to its name for the next 45 years.
The Thriller, that was my favorite. I rode it for about, I'd say, 4 hours straight without getting off. And I just rode and rode. I loved it so much. And if it wasn't crowded, I could choose the seat I wanted, so I usually would sit either the front seat or the back seat. But if there was busy, I'd have to sit in the middle. The other rides, they were okay, but that was my favorite.
Near the center of the park, next to the carousel, was the granddaddy of all carousels, the Great American Racing Derby. Built by a California company, the Great American Racing Derby featured rows of 4 horses that moved not only up and down, but backward and forward. The winning horse at each row was awarded a small flag. The winning riders were then entitled to ride the next race of the Great American Racing Derby for free.
I was out at Euclid Beach at a rainbow demolay picnic at the great old age of 14. And he was running the American Racing Derby as a ride, and to impress, I think they always like to impress the girls. He was doing what they call a derby shuffle, where one foot is on the real land and the other one was on the ride and bouncing on and off. And of course I won the flag in my horse, and so I got another free ride, and I guess he got another free look. And then when the ride was over, he says, hey, how about on my break going on some rides with me? And like I said, I was 14 years old, and we went on some rides, and he asked for my phone number, and I was a West Sider, he was an East Sider. And we saw each other out at the park a few more times, and when the park closed, he called and asked for a date, and we finally started going out together, probably around Thanksgiving time. And by February, March of the next year, I was barely 15. I knew I wanted to marry him if he wanted to marry me. And it took me 4.5 years to convince him marriage was what he wanted and needed. And we're still together.
The memory of the Great American Racing Derby never left Ohio. Now known as Cedar Downs, it can still be ridden today at Cedar Point Amusement Park in Sandusky. Directly adjacent to the Great American Racing Derby was the Carousel. This magnificent machine, made by the Philadelphia Toboggan Company, was strategically placed at the hub of the park. This remarkable creation featured 4 rows of wooden horses that seemed to come alive with each rotation. The magnificent carousel, not lost from Euclid Beach, still delights children of all ages at Old Orchard Beach, Maine. When you thought about the surprise house and all the fun it held, you are immediately reminded of Laughing Sal. Built in 1935, the surprise house was guarded by Sal, and she seemed to beckon you in with her contagious laughter. If it were a dark ride that you preferred, then the laugh in the dark was surely for you. In 1937, the Humphrey Company redesigned the mill chute, and with the removal of the scenic railway, the Over the Falls was born. The Dodgem was so much fun at Euclid Beach Park because the driver was in complete control. Do you remember the smell of electricity in the air and the sound of the wheels on the steel floor? Do you remember being directed to go only one way and to avoid collisions? Did anyone ever listen? Built and opened in 1930, the Flying Turns provided a rollicking and freewheeling ride down a cypress barrel-shaped chute. Few who ever rode it ever forgot it, and the Flying Turns would remain a faithful standard at Euclid Beach until the park was closed. Euclid Beach Park was really a family place to gather to enjoy the good times of an easier-going, more relaxing way of life. As with any amusement park, the company-sponsored picnics helped to pack the park, and Euclid Beach was no exception. In fact, Euclid Beach hosted so many picnics that on picnic days, you came to expect long lines at your favorite rides. Built for the Pan American Exhibition in Buffalo in 1901, the log cabin had been moved to Euclid Beach in 1902. Everyone will remember the log cabin as picnic headquarters at the park. Perhaps you were one of the fortunate high school seniors to have their class picnic at Euclid Beach Park. With their school days almost behind them, the lucky teenagers came to Euclid Beach to share the fun with each other and their teachers. Picnic games, races, and candy scrambles mark the company picnics at Euclid Beach Park. As early as 1920, at the CEI and Municipal Power Company picnics, a race was held to see how quickly the participants could erect a utility pole. Prior to 1950, the beach at the park was open for swimming, and many Clevelanders took advantage of the long sandy beach. If swimming didn't interest you, many people in the earlier years of Euclid Beach took in a movie.
My mother would take us over there and put us in the theater, and she'd say, now when you get through, you come right over to where I'm working. She worked in the balloon stand. And we said, okay. And if you don't report to me, you report to your dad where they sell the drinks. I said, okay. So, and we had, because my mother was sitting right where she could see the picture show, and when the side doors opened, she knew the picture was over. And she knew we had to be there. And if we weren't, we really got it. We had to sit on a bench.
The pier was built in Euclid Beach's very early steamship days, but the Humphreys continue to maintain it as a quiet place to take a stroll or as a popular fishing spot. We wouldn't think much of it now, but in the 1950s, when miniature golf was a popular craze, Euclid Beach had one of the finest miniature golf courses around. Political rallies were always synonymous with Euclid Beach Park. National figures such as John F. Kennedy, Hubert H. Humphrey, and Ted Kennedy came to speak to the throngs at Euclid Beach Park. When politicians came to the beach, the people always turned out in droves. When figures of national prominence wanted to address the people of Cleveland, Euclid Beach was always the chosen location. With her parents at a political rally, this girl pauses to tie her shoe before heading to the colonnade. The kitty whip, the kitty pony carts, the miniature bug, and the helicopter ride were all favorites at the colonnade. How about a ride on the kitty over the falls? or the kiddie hook and ladder. Today, the city of Mayfield Heights has preserved and restored the kiddie hook and ladder, and it may again be enjoyed in area parades. Who can forget the ride on the Sleepy Hollow train? This ride was a perennial favorite of young and old alike, and can still be enjoyed at Old Indiana Amusement Park. Hey, how about a quick spin on the Tilt-A-Whirl? When the Great American Racing Derby was removed from the park in the late 1960s, the Tilt-A-Whirl and the Ferris wheel occupied its former location. Next, we see the Bug. This ride was a favorite at most amusement parks, and Euclid Beach was no exception. At the far end of the midway, we see the Scrambler. Rides such as the Bug, the Scrambler, and this ride, the Flying Scooters, were old standbys at the park. Today, you can still navigate your own Euclid Beach flying scooter at Old Indiana. The last major attraction to be added to Euclid Beach Park was the Antique Car Ride. Now located at Old Indiana, the car's license plates pay homage to their Euclid Beach heritage. One of the oldest continuing rides at the park was the rocket ships. It was originally built in 1902 as the Circle Swing to transport wicker baskets full of riders. In 1927, this ride would change to include biplanes in place of the wicker baskets. When the Buck Rogers era entered in the 1930s, the biplanes were replaced by sleek stainless steel rocket ships. As dusk fell upon Lake Erie, Euclid Beach Park was transformed into a very special and very romantic place. In those days of the 1969 season, you could see a change falling over the park. The crowds had dwindled down, and it was easy to see that the park would not be with us too much longer. With the loss of the crowds came a sad feeling of emptiness to Euclid Beach Park. No longer kept in order, the pier had fallen into a sad state of disrepair. The crowds at Euclid Beach Park were gone now. No longer would dads have to wait to buy tickets for their children or wait in long lines to ride their favorite rides. Finally, after September 28, 1969, it was all over.
I believe that time can break down your heart. Round and round we go, through years we will part. It's sad to say it's true, you never can go back. And so we will try to keep it alive. It's just a piece of time that's hard to let go. We rushed along those years, where they've gone I don't know. It's sad to say it's true, you never can go back. And so we will try to keep it alive.
Today, the memories of the park are still kept alive by the special events like the annual Band Organ Rally at Euclid Beach State Park. Remnants of the park still constantly turn up from parades. To the annual Euclid Beach Memorabilia Show at Euclid Square Mall. Each year the crowds still come, and they still pause to remember the good times at Euclid Beach Park. If you're ever in Thorntown, Indiana, you can still ride many of the original rides from Euclid Beach Park at Old Indiana. But when you long for yesterday, simply close your eyes and think back to the days when we are all young and Euclid Beach Park was the only place to go.
And dream of all those days, you can live it all again in just so many ways. Close your eyes and feel the breeze whisper to your ears. Those are days that have come and gone and added up to years. Take the time to walk alone and know that life is good. Things may come and things may go, it works out like it should. But with new there comes a change that's really not so bad. The future's not so hard to take with memories that we have. And so we go through yesterday just to be here today. Just to be here today. Those were good old days. goodbye and leave it all behind. But when we try to reminisce, it's not too hard to find. But with new there comes a change that's really not so bad. The future's not so hard to take with memories that we have. And so we